Welcome to the Privacy Report.
Glad to be here.
So today, we're shifting focus a bit. Not your phone, not your laptop, but maybe the biggest computer you own, your car.
Ah, the rolling sensor array.
Exactly. Especially the newer ones, right? Smart cars, EVs. They're basically data hubs on wheels now.
Absolutely. Constantly listening, watching, collecting.
And that's what we want to dig into today. What exactly is your car gathering about you? Why? And crucially, where does all that data end up? It's creating this incredibly detailed profile.
It really is.
And just a quick note for everyone listening, if you want more on tech and privacy topics like this, you can always subscribe to our email newsletter over at theprivacyreport.net.
Definitely worth checking out.
So cars collecting data. I think most people get the basics, maybe GPS, but it feels like it's shifted, right?
Oh, massively. It's fascinating, really. It used to be, straightforward diagnostic stuff, engine temp, oil life, mileage, simple.
Right, the check engine light data.
Exactly. But now, with all the sensors, cameras, microphones for safety systems, for infotainment, we're talking about comprehensive, real-time surveillance.
Surveillance of the driver.
Of the driver, yeah, but also passengers, what's happening around the car.
Huh.
It's a huge leap. It brings convenience, sure, but it fundamentally turns your vehicle into this primary surveillance device that's always on.
Okay, let's try and nail down some specifics then, because surveillance sounds serious. You mentioned sensors and cameras. How personal does it get?
Very personal. Think about driver profiles. It's not just remembering your seat position or mirror settings anymore.
Okay.
Cars are increasingly using things like facial recognition, or they integrate with wearables, maybe your smartwatch, to know exactly who is driving.
Facial recognition in the car. Wow.
Yeah, and when we talk biometrics, it's creating these persistent identifiers. It could even be subtle things like the unique way you grip the steering wheel or the pressure pattern when you sit in the seat.
Wait, the pressure pattern.
It's technically feasible, yes, linking that pattern to your profile. So the car knows who is driving, biologically almost, even if you never formally log into an account in the car.
That is wild. Okay, so it knows who. What about where? GPS is obvious, but how detailed are we talking?
We're talking persistent, granular tracking. Every route you take.
Every single one.
Every route, every place you stop, charging locations for EVs, obviously, how often you make certain trips, it's all logged.
And where does that log live? Just in the car?
Initially, often yes, stored locally, but then it gets transmitted, sent back to the manufacturer, usually through what they call connected services.
Okay, connected services. Let's unpack that. That's the car's own internet connection, essentially, like a built-in SIM card.
Exactly right. It's usually a 4G or 5G modem baked into the car. Doesn't rely on your phone being connected.
So it can beam data out whenever it wants, 24/7.
Pretty much, yeah. It's designed to be always working quietly in the background.
Okay, so it knows who I am, where I go, but what about inside the cabin? You mentioned microphones earlier. Is my car listening? That feels like a step too far for many people.
It is unsettling, and yet should be. The most obvious way is through built-in voice assistants, the hey car brand commands.
Right, they have to listen for the wake word.
Exactly. So they are, by definition, always listening to some degree. But it might go beyond just waiting for that command.
How so?
Well, internal mics and even cameras could potentially capture more ambient data, background noise, snippets of conversation, maybe even analyzing your facial expressions to judge mood or alertness.
Analyzing my expressions. For what purpose?
Ostensibly for safety, perhaps driver fatigue monitoring, but it adds this incredibly personal, potentially even emotional layer to the data profile they're building.
Wow, okay. That's already a lot, but then we plug in our phones voluntarily via USB or Bluetooth.
And boom, you've just opened the floodgates. You've created a bridge between your whole digital life practically and the car system.
What kind of data spills over them?
Oh, it can be huge. Context, definitely. Call history, text messages sometimes, your music library, app usage data from the phone.
App usage, so it knows what apps I use on my phone while connected.
Potentially, yes. Even just streaming a playlist seems innocent, right? But the metadata, the choices, the timing, they can reveal a lot about habits, interests, maybe even health or mood. The car becomes this data sponge for your phone.
So they know who I am, where I go, maybe what I'm saying or feeling, and what's on my phone. Where does this head next? Does the car start judging me?
That's exactly where the behavioral profiling comes in. It's not just that you drove from A to B, it's how you drove.
How I drove. You mean like speeding?
Speed, yeah, relative to the limit, but also braking habits, how hard, how often. Steering inputs, acceleration patterns, it's all logged constantly.
And it transmitted.
Transmitted via. So
Yeah.
you mentioned telematics before. Is that the system?
Precisely. Telematics. That's the system designed for collecting and sending vehicle data over long distances.
And how is that sold to us, the drivers? Usually under the banner of safety and convenience. Think automatic crash notifications, roadside assistance, remote diagnostics, maybe predicting maintenance needs.
Okay, that sounds useful.
And it can be. That's the stated purpose. But the actual use often goes way beyond that. It includes profiling you as a driver, assessing your risk level, creating a score almost.
The driver score. And who wants that score? Just the car company.
Oh no. That score and all the data behind it is incredibly valuable. It feeds into this massive data ecosystem.
Right, the ecosystem. So this profile, my commute, my braking style, my contacts, maybe my mood from facial analysis, where does it actually go after it leaves the car and the manufacturer?
It gets shared
Uh,
widely. First, there are the direct partners, navigation providers, the companies behind the voice assistants, app developers who have integrations in the car's system.
Makes sense.
But then, yeah, increasingly, insurance companies are getting access, often through partnerships or specific programs.
For setting rates based on driving habits.
That's the big one, yes. Usage-based insurance. But crucially, the sharing often goes even beyond what's needed for the car to function, or for those obvious partnerships.
Like what?
Like targeted marketing, building consumer profiles for advertisers, risk analysis for other purposes, maybe even feeding into things like credit scoring models down the line, potentially.
Seriously, credit scoring, how is that even allowed?
It's usually buried in the terms of service. Those agreements you click accept on when you first set up the car or the connected services app. They grant broad permissions for data sharing and use. Most people never read them.
Yeah, who reads those? Okay, this feels different. Why is car data so uniquely sensitive compared to, say, my web browsing history or data from a shopping app?
Because the car sits at this unique intersection of your physical and digital life.
Mhm.
Nothing else really does that quite the same way.
How do you mean?
It reveals precisely where you go in the real world and when, who you travel with, if contacts are synced or passengers identified, what you might discuss in the supposed privacy of your car. And critically, how you physically behave behind the wheel, maybe under stress, maybe tired. It's this persistent, minute-by-minute record of your presence and actions in the physical world linked to your identity. That level of detail is incredibly invasive.
And the control aspect feels minimal. With software, I can usually uninstall it. With an online account, I can delete it or log out. You can't really do that with your car, can you? Especially if it's your main mode of transport.
You've absolutely hit the nail on the head. You can't easily log out of your car. And the privacy settings, they're often a mess.
How so? Buried.
Buried deep in menus, inconsistent between different car models and manufacturers, often vaguely worded. It's rarely clear what you're actually controlling.
And what happens if you do find the setting to turn off tracking?
Well, there's often a steep price. Disabling the data connection or telematics frequently means losing features you might rely on,
Like what?
like remote start or locking unlocking from your phone. Often navigation systems stop working or traffic updates disappear. Sometimes even the entertainment system features are crippled.
So you have to choose between privacy and functionality.
Pretty much. The underlying problem is those user agreements. They grant the companies really broad rights to collect, use, and keep your data. And to make the car work as advertised, you're essentially forced to agree.
You mentioned reviewing settings and disabling telematics, but given what you just said, how realistic is that? Are these controls genuinely accessible, or are they hidden on purpose?
Honestly, many manufacturers seem to use what we call dark patterns. They make opting out deliberately difficult or confusing.
Dark patterns, you mean like tricky design?
Exactly. Making the privacy protective choice harder or making the consequences seem dire. You often have to hunt through multiple screens to disable something like cloud sync or share data for product improvement or third-party marketing.
So when is the best time to try and tackle this?
The initial setup is key. When you first get the car or activate the Connected Services app, that's often the easiest point to spot and decline options related to sharing data with partners or, for research, anything not essential for core function or safety. Say no early, before the data flow really starts.
That's a great tip. Focus on that initial setup. What else can drivers practically do right now?
Okay, first, like we said, be really assertive during setup. Decline everything non-essential. If it asks to share data with some third party you don't recognize, just say no.
Got it. What else?
Second, seriously consider not connecting your personal accounts and apps to the car's system. Your main Google account, your Apple ID, maybe don't link them.
Use the phone independently.
Yeah, or use standalone devices if possible, especially for things like music or navigation if you're very concerned.
Using offline maps or a separate GPS device. That makes sense. It stops the car itself from logging and uploading every single destination immediately.
Exactly. It keeps that data off the manufacturer's connected network, at least for navigation. And as you mentioned before, actively look for those telematics or cloud sync settings in the car's menus. Disable them if you can find them, even if it means losing a bit of convenience.
Okay, disable telematics as possible. Anything else?
Yes, one crucial one people forget: selling the car. Or even just trading it in or taking it for major service.
What about it?
You must deal with the data stored locally in the car. Think contacts synced from phones, save navigation destinations, maybe even those biometric profiles we talked about.
It stays on the car's computer.
Absolutely, just like a computer hard drive. You need to ask the dealer or manufacturer how to perform a factory reset or securely wipe that personal data before the next person gets behind the wheel. Don't just hand over the keys. Taking a step back, these smart cars, they really are the new frontier for personal data collection, maybe the fastest growing and arguably one of the least regulated right now.
It feels that way.
And the convenience is real. The safety features are genuinely beneficial sometimes. But they've introduced this pervasive level of digital tracking that I think most drivers never truly understood or gave informed consent for.
So, thinking about all this, as cars become these hyper-connected platforms, basically computers on wheels tracking us constantly, here's something to ponder on your next drive. Should privacy be a fundamental right baked into the car's design, on by default?
Or should it continue to be treated like an optional extra, something you might have to sacrifice core features to even partially control?
A really important question as this tech evolves.
Definitely something to consider as you buckle up, Sarah.
Thank you for tuning into the Privacy Report. We really appreciate you listening and being part of this conversation.
And if you found this helpful or interesting, please do remember to like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your audio. It really helps others find the show.
And finally, just a note that this episode was made with the assistance of AI.